Alright, so I'll be making a video today on how to build a mining rig. This is my current setup right now. So I'm not going to be touching this, but I'll be making another one of these guys. Very similar to this one. Yeah, so we'll get right to it. So what we got right here is the wood frame that I've built. And this is the motherboard that I found on Facebook Marketplace for 40 bucks. It's an old motherboard, Core 2 Duo, quad core Intel, has 4 gigs of RAM, DDR2, but I did some research and it looks like this motherboard can even support DDR3. But I'm not gonna mess with that. So I actually got this as a combo. The RAM, the CPU, and the cooler was already there. And you know, for 40 bucks, it wasn't a bad deal. And right here, I got the hard drive for the boot drive, you could say. Normally I'd use an SSD, but I was just trying to stay on the budget for this build. So I had this old hard drive laying around, a laptop hard drive, 160 gig, so got that for free, you could say. This is one of the power supplies on this motherboard, because you know I do have 2 GPUs, so just to be safe I got 2 power supplies. So this is one of them. Got this for 40 bucks on Marketplace. Great deal. And this one I actually bought. It was on sale for 65, I believe. Yeah. I just bridged this one. So when the power is on, it just runs, as you can see. And this is powering one of the GPUs. So I went ahead and disassembled everything, and now we'll put all these parts on top of this wooden frame. So I usually like to put the motherboard sideways with the I/O panel facing backwards. And I would usually mount this drive somewhere around here. So right here, as you can see, I've got the motherboard seated on the plywood. I just put it on there just like that. Didn't use any rubber pads or anything since this is wood. And right here I have put the power supply on its side, and the reason for that is I'm gonna put this other power supply similar way on its side, so it has this against this right here, and it'll still be able to grab the air and vent out. Same with this one, and they're both just gonna fit here perfectly. So as you can see right here, I've put the power supplies side by side and they look pretty good. Now I just need to run the wires for the GPUs. Get the risers seated right here. Let's mount it now. There we go. tighten it from both ends. I'm not gonna just tighten it all the way just yet. Put the other one on. Now I can start tightening it more. And there we go. Doesn't need to be super tight. That seems pretty good to me. I'll just cut the ends off. So yeah, the hard drive is mounted. Now I just have to run this wire to the PSU. The SATA is already connected, so this SATA is gonna go into these six pin spots. So right here. So there's only one 8-pin connector on the PSU, and this is the only cable we have. Okay. So yeah, that's connected. So what we got in front of us are the risers that I'm gonna be using. I also got these from Facebook Marketplace. The guy was actually selling them for really cheap, $2 for one. So as you can see, there's a few ways of powering this riser. Either you could go for the Molex, SATA, or the 6-pin PCIe connector. And the best way to power these risers is this right here. I wouldn't recommend using Molex or SATA, because SATA, I believe, can only deliver 50 to 55 watts, I believe. I could be wrong, but it's somewhere around that. And what this slot is made for is 75 watts. So the better way to put it is a GPU can draw 75 watts out of these PCIe slots. So that right there, or those. So that's how much they put out, or the max the GPU can draw from these is 75. So I hope you get the idea. But yeah, and one of these 6-pin connectors are rated for 75 watts. So if you don't want to set your house on fire, go with these. And again, it's not just about using these, it's about knowing how the power works, how you distribute it. There's a lot more to it, so there's a bunch of other videos on YouTube explaining that subject really well. So right here I got the PCI 8-pin connectors. They're dual 8-pin coming out of each power supply back there. So One of these connectors can do 150 watts, and the wire, normally they're rated for around 280 to 300 watts, but the rule is never to push it more than 80% of what it's capable of. So what you could do is use one end to power the GPU and the other to power the riser. You could do that, or you could use a splitter and do the same thing, but that's if you only have one 8-pin coming out of your power supply, or let's say the length of the second one's not long enough, so that's when you would use a splitter. But yeah, don't split one 8-pin more than 2 ways. So what I'm gonna be doing is I'm actually gonna be powering the risers like that, and this will be used to power the 8 pins for the additional power on the GPUs. But since this is not long enough, I'll just be using an 8-pin connector. Just ignore this one. So this will be powering the GPUs from the top, and this will be powering the risers. Pretty simple. So I got one connected, and here we got the second one. So here we got the risers, and the distance between them is pretty decent. I would like them more far apart, but unfortunately I didn't have extras of these, or else I would have used it just like this, but this is fine for now. So yeah, this will be going on top of this with the GPUs. So this normally comes with the riser. This is the USB 3 cable to a PCI 1X adapter. So this will be going either in your 1X slots or your 16X slots in the motherboard, and this end goes into the riser. There we go. So for GPU, I'm actually using Gigabyte RX 570 4GB. It's a really great card. Again, I found this on Marketplace. It was a great deal. Can't remember how much it was, but it was, I believe, around 150 or less. Great card for value. I'll make another video of what cards I own, how much hash power they're putting out, and how much wattage they consume, what overclocks or BIOS mods that I'm running. But yeah, that'll be another video. So yeah, this is the one of the cards I got. So yeah, you just take the riser. Yeah, pretty simple. This is the lock. You just want to push it back all the way before you insert the card in the slot. So just gently push even pressure on each side till it goes in. There we go. It's in all the way. Let's see if I can lock this. And there we go. The lock's on. So we got the power connected, USB, and the cards in the slot. And yeah, So there it goes. So yeah, just drop the zip tie in here, and here it is. I'm gonna feed it through, and nice. I was able to do it all with one hand. Oh, there we go. So yeah, this card's mounted now. Pretty secure. So I'm just gonna repeat this step with the second one. So it's starting to look a lot like a mining rig. Got both the GPUs mounted. Still have to connect the USB PCI 1X onto the motherboard and the power. And basically just gonna connect this to the monitor, or if you're running HDMI, depends on what kind of video output you're running. And yeah, and this end over here got both the power cords for both the power supplies. This is the cables for this power supply, because we're not really using it for anything but just one of the cards. That was a snap from the frame of the fans, no big deal. Just make sure the clip is flat and it has actually latched on. You can always wiggle it a little. There we go. This one's also in. So power is connected, and now we just have to connect the PCIs. So I'll be plugging these in right now. So the bigger side always goes in far left. After you install it, just put some pressure on it, make sure it's in there, because it can pop out with just the tension from the wire. So the first one's in, now the second one, and for the second one I'm using this black PCI slot down here. So now we have all the essential wires connected. So now I'm just gonna move the rig around here. hook up the monitor, keyboard, mouse, and the power to the wall, and I'll boot it up. Alright, it's in the frame, that's good. Power's hooked up. Here we have our Ethernet. Ethernet's hooked up. And yeah, I'm just gonna hook up the keyboard mouse and I'll be back. So, got it all tidy up. Everything's plugged in. And we're ready for the first boot up. I've already installed Windows on the hard drive, so yeah, there's no tutorial on that. I'm sure you guys can find other videos on how to do that. But I will drop some videos in future explaining what mining software I'm using, why I'm using those softwares, and what tweaks I've done to my Windows for the mining optimization. So what's nice about this motherboard is that it actually has a power button on it. Let me see if I can get that. I'll zoom on to it. There we go. So yeah, it's a really neat thing. Has power and reset on the board. Okay, and oh yeah, that's my personal rig in the back, my gaming / mining when I'm not gaming PC. Okay, so let's power up the first power supply. Let's power up the second one, which should just start spinning right away. Yep, perfect. We got the lights on the motherboard. And let's hit the power button. Woohoo! And the rig is on. Alright. Oh, there we go. It's already booted up.